Hello, this is Mark from the Safe House in Nashville, Tennessee, and this is part 3 of our 3-part series on what to look for when purchasing a safe. The things I'd like to talk about in this video are the types of locks to look for, which are going to be your mechanical and electronic, the hard plate that protects the locks, the relocking systems on a safe, whether internal or external, and the locking bolt systems in the safe. So let me get started with the types of locks that you'll find when you go and look at a safe. The first one I'd like to discuss would be the mechanical lock, which there's 2 basic companies that make mechanical locks in the U.S. There are a few others, but the 2 major brands in the U.S. would be a Sergeant Greenlee, like I'm holding here, or a Lagarde. And they function basically the same way, and that would be when you turn the dial and put your combination into the lock, which is going to be a 3 or 4 number combination, it's going to move some plates in the back of the lock, and once you put the correct code in there, you have a lever that drops and retracts the bolt, and you can access your safe. The next type of lock that would be on this safe would be an electronic lock. And this happens to be an American Security, which is one of the brands that we carry. And they happen to make their own lock. But Sergeant Greenlee and Lagarde and also Secure Ram make electronic locks. They basically function the same way. They're going to be, or they're going to have a keypad, whether it's a battery-powered keypad or one that you turn the face of the lock to generate the power. But you're going to put your code into the lock, and then you're going to have a bolt on the back of it that once you put your correct code in it, it retracts the bolt, and after a predetermined time, the bolt extends back out. The other brand that I mentioned, which is Sergeant Greenlee, it operates basically the same way. You put your code in the lock, and once you put the correct code in, it retracts the bolt, and then after a predetermined time, it will extend the bolt back out. One of the big questions that I get from customers coming in to look at safes are mechanical locks more secure, more dependable than electronic locks. Mechanical locks have been around for a long time, had very few changes through the years, very dependable, very secure way to lock your safe up. On the other hand, the electronic locks are easier for you to use day to day. They allow you to change your codes. Some of them have multiple codes, so if people in your family or in your business need additional codes, you can provide those. But the security of the lock, they function basically the same way to secure your safe. It's just different ways to retract the bolt so you can turn your bolts and open up the safe. 2 other ways to access your safe would still be the mechanical or electronic, but another type of lock is a redundant system. And there's a few safe companies on the market now that offer a redundant system. And what a redundant system is it's 2 locks that are mated together, and it allows you to open up your safe with either or, either the mechanical or the electronic. So if one fails, you can still access your safe. Now the other type of lock would be a dual locking system that you would see on your higher security safes that you'd see in your jewelry stores or pawn shops, or anybody that wanted to provide a little extra security on their safe. But what that is 2 separate locking systems that you have to open both of them to access the safe. Where they're redundant, here again, redundant meaning either one you can open up the safe. So those are basically the locking systems on the safes, either your mechanical, your electronic, your redundant, or your dual locking systems. And they're all excellent ways to lock up your safe. It's really your personal preference on which one you choose. One thing I'd like to discuss now is another safety feature of your better quality safes, and that would be hard plate. And there's different types of hard plate, different hardnesses, and different types. You may hear or read some manufacturers call their hard plate diamond shield or diamond embedded hard plate, but what it boils down to is this piece of metal is going to protect your safes against someone drilling it with a regular drill. To drill through this, you would have to have a special bit and know the technique of drilling hard plate to get through it. Now, the different types of hard plate that I mentioned is the regular hard plate is just a sheet of steel that's here again, hard plate. There's different hardnesses, Rockwell hardnesses that you can get. The other is a ball bearing hard plate, which has ball bearings embedded in the metal. So if I do successfully drill the hard plate, I hit the ball bearings and it takes me longer to drill it. One thing when you don't have hard plate, one of the most important things when you don't have hard plate is that someone can drill your safe easily. Where your better quality safes are going to have your hard plate in front of the lock, which this little cutaway will show, and it's going to be in front of the lock, so if I do try to drill it, I can't access the lock and open your door. Now, if you do try to drill a safe without hard plate, as long as you know where to drill, you can access it very easily, and someone could steal all your valuables. Now, what I'm about to show now is a safe that doesn't have hard plate, and as you see here, this is a cheap internet safe that you can easily access. Now, the point that I'm going to drill is not the access point on the safe, but this will demonstrate how easily you could drill this safe versus one of my better quality safes that does have hard plate that you couldn't do this to. So as you can see, and I didn't count how long that took, but in under a minute I can drill this safe, and unfortunately other internet videos and other information actually shows you how to drill these safes, but this is a demonstration of why you wouldn't want to purchase not necessarily this cheap internet safe, but other brands that don't have hard plate. Okay, now the next security feature I'd like to talk about would be the relockers in a safe, and there's a couple different types of relockers. The first one I'll talk about is an internal relocker, which is on the inside of the lock. So if someone damages your lock, whether it's punching, prying, hitting it with a hammer, it's going to activate the internal relocking system. The next type would be an external relocking system. And what an external relocking system would be, it would be in addition to the internal relocking system. And on this particular brand of safe, this is a spring-loaded external relocker. So if I damage this lock enough to activate this external relocker, it's going to double lock the safe up. The other type would be a glass relocker system, which would be similar to the spring-loaded system, but it's going to be a sheet of glass that if I pry the safe enough, or even if I drop the safe, it would break the glass and activate an additional relocker. The last one I'll mention is a torch activated relocker, and it's just what it sounds like. It's if I take a torch to the front of the safe and try to burn through the lock, it's going to melt the cable and fire another relocker. So when you go and look for a safe, and whether you come to us, talk to us, or another safe dealer, and they mention relockers, that's what they're talking about. It's a locking system in addition to the lock that you see on the front of the safe. Okay, last but not least on the features that I was going to discuss is the locking bolt system. And when you go and look at a safe, you're rarely going to be able to see the backs of the doors with the panels off to be able to see how the bolts are attached to the cam system. But that's also a very important part of the construction of your safe, because if I have a safe that has thicker attachments, metal, like this Fort Knox, and as I move down here, the Browning has a very strong linkage system, the Champion. But if I go to some of my internet safes, or maybe some safes that you find in a big box store, you're going to have, you may have fairly large bolts, but they're not connected to a very thick piece of metal. So what that lends itself to is if I go to access the safe, it's easier for the bad guys to get your stuff. Where on your better quality safes, the bolts are attached to very thick metal rods that keep someone from prying your safe open. So when you go and look at these safes and you see a smaller bolt, like a 1-inch bolt like this, as long as it's attached to a thick enough linkage, it's still going to be a very secure safe. Now, it kind of goes without saying, is this 1-inch bolt as secure as this Browning 1.25 inch or this Fort Knox 1.5 inch? Well, of course not, but this safe isn't at a different price range. Now, excellent safe for the price range. As you go up, more expensive safes are going to give you more protection. So the things that I've discussed in this video, the type of lock that you can get on the safe, the hard plate that's going to protect the lock, the relockers, which are going to be in addition to your external lock, and then the locking bolt systems. Those are really some of the main things you need to look at. And you may think in this video that I'm giving up trade secrets or anything, but all the information that I've provided is readily accessible information. A lot of this is in the manufacturer's brochures. So the information that I give you here is to educate you when you go out and purchase a safe, and let you make the right decision to protect the amount of valuables that you plan on putting in your safes. So we appreciate you watching our 3-part series on what to look for when purchasing a safe. And if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call at our phone number, which will be at the end of the video, the 615-255-0500, or check us out on the web at NashvilleSafehouse.com.